This conference will now be recorded.
Hi folks, here is the OCP Nick community update for the month of June 2023. Wow, we are already in mid-May. Before we go through the agenda, actually there's one thing I would like to ask the folks. So our next meeting will be in the 4th of July week, currently scheduled on the 5th of July. Um, do you folks see the need to move it out by a week or so? What's the thought? I
Oh,
personally propose we move it out by a week.
I'm
I would
okay
like
with
to
that.
hear.
Yeah,
I'm
I
okay
think
with that
moving
too.
up will help my attendance.
Hmm. Okay, then
Yeah,
I will.
guessing that week will be light attendance.
Yeah, yeah, like will be like and maybe very like. Oh, yeah, good. Um, okay. So yeah, with that, I will move the it out to the week of the 12th. Yeah, hopefully there's no conflicts, but yeah, I will get out. Okay, so for agenda today, the first one we do have want to talk about the tall small vector thermal test fixture. We do have a challenge we presented a couple of times with Anna. And then we do have a solution proposal. Thanks will be an update on the SmartNIC Summit. And then so many summit. The next will be OCP Global Summit. Um, then later will be a PCI Gen 5 thermal test fixture, exact fixture update as usual. And last but not least, I want to talk about our PCI Gen 6 support status. So without much ado, let's talk about thermal test fixture. So they, as Anna had previously shown us, so our current thermal test fixture that we uploaded in the wiki doesn't have opening holes for the side air. So currently, and then we do have like the candlestick measurement around this area, and it with this without opening, air does flow back into the NIC card, but was not measured by the candlestick because candlestick would measure velocity. It create better than expected result. Um, so um, Jonathan helped to modify the thermal test fixture faceplate that we've seen here by adding some of the holes at the side. Um, yeah, and then Anna will use it and to do simulation and see how is it. Um, so Anna, do you have result ready? I know it's just a very late request. You have anything to share?
Hello, Daniel. Not now, unfortunately.
Mhm.
I still need to run some simulation, but
Yes.
from the first result that I saw, it seems pretty good. So it's
Hmm.
because the difference between this design and the design that was proposed by me is pretty similar, a few millimeters difference between the whole locations. So
Mhm.
it's still okay. And
Mm.
when I finish my simulation, I will send an email with update, the exact curves, and I think that we can just move forward with this design and hopefully test it also. I think that in general, we NVIDIA can help with thermal test because we have cards
Yeah.
in this form factor, and we will already tested it, but with the previous test fixture, so we can see the differences and
That's
compare
good.
between them, and maybe also to check the candlesticks readouts. I still don't know what about time availability in our thermal validation team, but definitely I think we can push this task.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, that's good. And from Meta side, just for your testing, I will go ahead and ask our team to try to cut a few.
Yeah, it will be very helpful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
Yeah,
the team previously told me they are capable, so I also want to see what's the capability we have here.
Okay,
yeah, and I
great.
got your
Thank you.
email request, so I'll do a one-on-one DFX later today and send it to you, Damon.
Yeah, thanks, Jonathan. Yeah, yeah. I told them they can scale it themselves, but they say that they prefer not to do it wrong. So yeah, that's a request. Thank you, Jonathan. Huh. So yeah, that's the update, and we are making progress there. Maybe next month we can share some simulation result.
Yeah, the only one thing that we'll see if your team can cut it, or we may we may need to just slightly um, increase the distance between those opening a little bit due to
Mm,
the thickness of material constraint. Right now, it's probably
mm,
right at the edge border of one material thickness. So probably
mm.
laser cutting is okay. But if let's
Yeah.
say we do only like punching, then
Mm,
the supply might say that hey, we could or we may not, and the distance between it might be a little bit bent. So we'll see.
What is the thickness right now of this plate?
I can't remember on top of the. I think
Right.
it's like a 20 gauge right now. So it's like 0.86.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's the minimum recommended distance, as I understand.
um. Oh, by the way, I think this is the original design from Dell. Jason, do you know, like, they did use stamping method earlier to do the cut?
I'm trying to remember. I believe those were stamped. Um, they were done in low quantities. I'm trying to remember what the low
Yeah,
quantity method is
yeah,
with our vendor. I don't recall.
yeah. I think low quantity could be either, but we want a bit higher, then yeah, then laser cut is not feasible per se. Um, yeah, but test fixture usually also not very high, really depending on just the vendor's capability.
Yeah, and I think it's with test fixture. If let's say it's a little bit, it's not flat or a little bit bent in there, I don't think there would be a major concern there. We
Yeah.
only
Well, yeah. Now that
only.
I'm sorry, I'm just kind of mentally getting caught up here. Since it was done in low quantity, we didn't have these holes in there, so all we had it was cut,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then the holes are drilled. The circular holes are drilled,
Oh, it's
but
the
these
3
square
holes are
holes,
drill.
we
Yeah,
we
this is
didn't
one
do
what
that.
cut. Yeah, I see. Yeah, my team told me that they will laser cut everything. This one they will bend it manually. That's what I heard. But let's see. But at least for the testing, I think it's probably capable to do a quick test.
Yeah, I don't think there are major concern there. I'm okay with that.
Okay. Yep. Let's move on. Next is the SmartNIC Summit. It's actually held June 13 to 15. Is it like next week? Yeah, Tuesday to Thursday. Um, we still have our special session for OCP to go and share OCP NIC solution. But given we also give a heads up to the organizer that um, this is a good NIC form factor, but for smart NIC there are certain limitations. So yeah, we did align that message. We still go and share OCP thing. NVIDIA ELAD will be representing us. ELAD is in the Bay Area, so for 10 minutes it's very hard to justify a travel for myself. So yep, and thanks NVIDIA and ELAD for helping that.
Damian, I'm sorry. Is it a lad wing?
Yeah, ELAD win, yes.
Okay.
Yep, and he's also a right representative from OCP also because the invitation is to OCP. Of course, Nick Group were being asked also. And ELAD is also the IC inclusion committee of OCP, so it's a good representative of OCP also. And yeah, for those are there attending this summit, yeah, can you please go and support at this time slot and 10:50 to 11. Next, our OCP own global summit, October 17 to 19. As usual, the planning start early, so the workshop presentation is actually call for abstract is now open. It'll be closed in June 16. June 16 is next Friday. While don't count on it, very typical I see that closer to June 16, it will extend for another couple of days to June, like over to Monday. But it's still good to try to shoot for this date, June 16, in case it doesn't get extended. Yeah, I hope to see some of the um, presentation work from the group here. And then for the experience lab demo, I requested some space on behalf of the group. We do have at least some Broadcom actually reached out to me. Jason actually is Hamel.com, but he represented Broadcom. Regards to me, they requested some space for demo, so I submitted the request. And based on priority, we'll see whether we get any space. But in this round, I would like to see more companies participate in the demo. So I think in the past, like we have quite a bit, then it kind of taper down. The reason is I think we like to show more. It's more like a mature community, more like a mature solution. We are using the fruit now, but it's good to show to other um, I would say other work stream, like for example DCMHS, like how a mature specification and contribution and ecosystem, how it looks like. So I'll reach out separately to different folks and hope to be able to bring more companies and solution to the demo this round, provided we actually get selected. Yeah, and also like in the past we do have COVID, like things are really tapered down quite a bit, but yeah, hopefully now that is something we can live with COVID, and then we see more people are actually present locally and also people participate. Okay, next I would like to pass it to Jason to talk about the PCI Gen 5 asset test fixtures.
Yes. So for CLB, we discussed this probably in the past two calls, but we're in the process of releasing the designs. Dell will present at one of the next IC meetings to get the approval, and then once we have that, Damien will be able to post it on the wiki. CVB, we were expecting to have.
Do you know when is that?
Yeah, please.
For the IC meeting?
I need to schedule it. So I know we talked with Kiefer and Rob on it, but then unfortunately other people went PTO on my team last week, so I kind of lost a week here. I need to reach out to get that scheduled for that. So hopefully by this next month it'll be all released. CVB, on the other hand, we were supposed to actually have assembled units about now, we received PCB materials a few weeks ago to our assembler, and they noticed significant problems with the solder mask around the MMPX connectors, the connectors that terminate for the PCIe Gen 5 lanes. There's no way those were going to be able to be reworked so that they could be assembled. So unfortunately, we had to spin another layout and start ordering another set of PCBs. This is unfortunate. It happens sometimes, especially with new prototypes. I don't
Is
have
it
an ETA out
solder
yet.
mask deregistration, like it, or it's actually like exposed because we don't have solder mask kind of on that symbol?
It basically is it's on the connectors itself. So it did not have a mask opening where it needed to
Oh,
be.
I
So
see.
it's covering over the copper.
I see. Don't have a mask opening. I see. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a long story, but there was a snafu in how the Gerber was processed.
I see.
There's yeah.
Is it the same? I would say the same symbol being used on the CLB and the CBB.
It is, and that is part of the problem. So the original CLB, these were kind of interleaved in terms of schedule. So there was a discovery back in the November, I believe in November, December timeframe when we realized we had a problem with the CLB. We at least had that one corrected, and it didn't propagate that. We didn't propagate that change into the CBB. It was an oversight.
I see.
So we do know how to address it. It's just unfortunate that it has to be addressed. And with this sort of material, being Megtron 6, it is a long lead time mistake. So, but we're ordering new boards now.
I see.
Additionally, we have all the components except for one. There's a 100 meg oscillator that's new for PCI Gen 5 that's not on the prior Gen 4. We're inspired by the PCI SIG version of it. They had used 100 meg HSCL type oscillator, which is not as common in the distributors. You do have to generally get those ordered, particularly with only a few vendors. And so we have an order right now. I do have an alternate part to make it work if I have to use it. But it's only one item that I just want to mention, that because I am going to get, likely Broadcom is going to test the CVB, and I do have another company that's open as well as iPath. So I'll just have to note that with them that we may or may not be able to do that one particular test case. So I just at least want to be open here about that.
Okay.
That's it on this slide.
Okay. Yeah. So far, I have been hearing requests to separately through that ask when do we have a CLB ready. But for some reason, I didn't hear much about when do we get a CBB ready. So it seems like people are looking for CLB more than CBB. Yeah. I guess like people who need a CBB is less than those who need a CLB.
If anyone needs the Gerber package and the assembly information, I have that in a OneDrive, and I gave that out to many folks that are on this call. If there's anyone else that needs the material, I can provide the link to that. You just need to contact me. It's jason.rock@dell.com. If you're looking to order one, I know UNH IOL is looking to get this set up where they can provide CLBs for retail sale. They did the Gen 4 and the Gen 3. I am aware that they do have access to at least one or two of them now. So if there's someone that can get them up and available, they should be able to at least get maybe access to that one or two that they have right now. So that's what I'm aware of.
Good to know.
Okay.
Yep, moving on.
Thanks. So the other item that we're going to present at the IC meeting is the MCU firmware for the thermal test fixture. So the thermal test fixture has been out for a while. We obviously talked about the TSFF variant with its phase plate. We had hired a contractor to help develop the code to make it a public release. We've had NVIDIA, Intel, Marvell do testing with it. I know Meta had offered. I don't believe y'all had a chance to look at it yet. But it's at a pretty stable code base now. I just need to get it submitted for approval. It is on a GitHub site. If anyone needs access to it, I can provide the link to that. Once it's approved, the OCP staff will clone it and post it on the OCP's GitHub site so that it'll be available there. And once it's released, it'll allow people to make modifications. Our contractor will be one of the admins to help ensure that code base is relevant and to it before things get pulled into that release. That's something Dell is willing to help continue to contribute for that. I don't know if you have any questions about this, because I'm going to mention the other two items. We have two other test fixtures. We have an LED test fixture as well as a system management test fixture. There hadn't been a lot of priority on those, but it's something that Dell still wants to release. On the LED test fixture, we do have beta code that is actually pretty stable that could potentially be released. The one thing there's several things that have been noted on the test fixture itself. There's one circuit that we want to improve that connects between the LED sensor to the MCU that we want to eliminate, which is basically an op-amp that didn't really serve much of a purpose. The other thing too is since we finally got more use case testing with this test fixture, we noticed there's not a lot of repeatability on the ability to do the color and illumination. The way that sensor works, it's almost like a loose, like a flexible antenna, and so you have to place it over onto the gut LED and hold it for several seconds, and it's not very stable. You can get varying results if you can't hold it well. And so I know there's some discussion about altering the arrangement of the test fixture so that you can have more repeatability. And at this point now, I don't have all the details. All that I see April has actually joined. I know you had been giving some inputs in that. I don't know if you had any other comments that I didn't mention with that.
Uh,
Not to put you on the spot.
yeah.
It's been really a while. I know.
Yeah, nothing right now. I think you need to dig into
Okay.
it a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah. So if there's urgent need, we'll put a little more priority on it. But I think we want to perfect the repeatability of the testing, and so that's going to take a little bit of time. We might have to do one or two iterations of it to make it happen, since it's more of a mechanical than a physical electrical sort of thing. So I'm likely not going to present about that monthly here for that particular thing. But once we get the fixture itself honed in, we'll then talk about releasing both the hardware material, the collateral for it, as well as the MCU firmware for it.
Jason, I think for the thermal test fixture now is like ready to be contributed. Do you think we
Yes.
can set it up like in a live demo how this being used? I think one thing is I felt like personally I felt that the spec did really good is actually on the standardizing the test fixture so that between different NICs, when we say which kind of tier, they kind of have the same reference point, which I think not many spec actually did it. in I feel that it's an area that maybe we can inspire some other standards to do it too.
Yeah,
Is it
absolutely. If
something
that's
possible to demo maybe? If we can get a space, maybe you can demo in the OCP Global Summit this round. I think we have shown a feature
yeah.
before, but we never shown a really working one. Like we shown that box, the outer chassis and things like that.
So I would say yes. I was going to mention that to you and offline. If there's a need to occupy space, this could be one of the items that we could do, and it could be related to both what you're saying as well as the different faceplate configurations for the TSFF and the regular SFF. Um, yeah, I think that's highly doable.
Yeah, great.
Lastly, so we also have a system management test fixture. We have been working on that code as well, but it's been second or third priority compared to the other two. So it hasn't really reached a mature level yet.
Yeah, and I
And
also
that's
believe
it.
that system management has like different companies do it differently as well. Yeah, not necessarily easy
Yeah,
to standardize.
I agree. And so from Dell's perspective, I think we will release the material, the collateral, and the firmware. I doubt a company like IOL will pick that up and put it for retail for exactly what you said. But I do see one benefit that looks like there's other options out there that people can utilize to do system management, validation, and conformance testing. But yeah, we still have it, and we still want to release it for the community.
Yeah, especially with similar. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, move on to the next topic is regarding PCI Gen 6 support. Yeah, I actually also did get a little bit pressure from companies. This regarding like, are we gonna support PCI Gen 6? I think the folks that actually asked me is not folks that are regularly attending this meeting. Is like whether OCP NIC will actually support PCI Gen 6. So what I told them is yes, that is in plan. Then the next question is always like when. So what I basically told them is we're targeting by OCP Global Summit, we'll announce the PCI Gen 6 support. I think is somewhat achievable. And then we have seen analysis from Inferno and TE show that they are confident in the SFTA 10.02 connector. So this is our major leverage. It was using this form factor to support PCI Gen 6. The plan is to align with SNIA, the SFTA 10.02, and let's see whether it meets our criteria. I think the major criteria we are talking about here is about crosstalk, less about insertion loss. And then we do have SIRAF Tanmoy that's following up with Intel, basically the SNIA uh, chairperson on the next step and review by end of this week. So my bad for not giving Tanmoy enough heads up. So when I give Tanmoy heads up, it's actually a bit late. So my bad. Next time I'll do follow up earlier. And then the proposal for our PCI Gen 6 support is to use the same insertion loss at Gen 6 for basically same as Gen 5 on the small form factor and tall small form factor. Mainly because like the nyquist frequency for Gen 6 and 5 is actually the same. I think we should use the same insertion loss. and still save some of the insertion loss budget from the NIC, so that overall channel is a little bit easier. Would like to hear some comment from the NIC vendor side, like NVIDIA, Intel, Broadcom. They should on the call today. Any thoughts about that general alignment?
No, no further comments on it. It's always good to keep the same dB loss between generations.
Is the frequency of interest going to increase for Gen 6 though? Because I know it's going to PAM4 signaling, which means the rise times are going to be much faster. Is it still going to be defined at 16 gigahertz?
Amor, you're saying something?
Yes, no, I think the Nyquist is still the same. So 16 gigahertz remains the same, but I think the key thing is that insertion loss to the crosstalk. I mean, of course, PAM4 we lose the signal amplitude close to like 9 dB because of this leveling there. So it needs to come from somewhere else. So I think the crosstalk is another lever that we need to turn on to get the separation from the signal to the noise. But I think the Nyquist still remains the same. And that's the way probably it makes sense. I mean, I think the standards and other places, I think they are doing exactly the same. So certainly makes sense to keep the same frequency and build from there.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to reduce the insertion loss further, like Tamo said, like take it from the NIC again, then maybe the material have to be updated. And then the ASIC need to be closer to the Goldfinger, which is a bit hard already, because like if you look into PCIe Gen 6, we likely go with 800G NIC solution per se. Then also, well, QSFP-DD may be possible, but more popular is actually OSFP. Maybe in our case is OSFP IHS, and that connector is pretty long. And then the ASIC is more like being pushed to the either left side or right side. So the routing to Goldfinger is actually not short. So I also feel like the reason why I say propose to keep the same is and want to get some NIC benefit base, would like to get some study whether this is even achievable due to the 800G. The OSP is longer. It's a bit different. And where you're going to put your ASIC is actually a bit different also. Yeah, the worst thing is like we set a spec and ultimately there's no NIC that can meet it. That is also pretty bad. So can I request help from the NIC vendor side? I will send a follow-up email just to look at whether this is achievable even.
Yes, then please send a mail and I will try to contact our guys, relevant person in NVIDIA, and we'll try to help.
Yep, yep, yeah. Yeah, I think that's the general thought. Like, try to align this and try to announce that in the OCP Global Summit. Yeah, of the general, I do get offline feedback and ask when we can provide this support because their next gen system, yeah, they would like to see whether this is OCP NIC is the right solution or not. And since we are investigating and it looks good, it just what is the crosstalk, what is the insertion loss? I just say, yeah, we will support it. Just how and how much. Those details. Okay, that's all I have. Any questions from the folks that are attending today? Okay. If not, then yeah, this is it. And then for next OCP Global Summit, for those who join us a bit later, sorry, not a bit, for the next monthly meeting, not OCP Global Summit, next monthly meeting, we're gonna move 1 week to July the 12th, to avoid the 4th of July week. Okay, that's it. Bye, folks. Take care.
Amen.
Thank
Meeting
you.
adjourned.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Miriam.
Mhm.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.